Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Ooh, shiny.
Tell me something, Jimmy. Do you even know how to kill me?
I'm gonna cut your goddamn head off. See if that works.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. I'm Stuart.
Bottom. No, sorry, and I'm Andrew. We were just discussing something to do with Stuart's phone, which you can expect to hear probably a few times throughout the show, I'm expecting tonight, because he forgot to put it on silent.
It's a good job it's actually at a distance, so if you can hear it, you've got really good hearing, but I'm hoping that I don't get any notifications of any type, because if you do, you will be hearing a certain word, bottom, and then minions laughing a lot.
Yeah, so anybody listening in live chat, if you're not listening right now, click in the bottom right-hand corner of the Spreaker screen. There's a little icon there that you can click on to join us and chat. And you can also tweet Stuart, so you can send him a message and get his phone to go nuts.
Please don't. We actually here to review films. Well, a film, and that is...
Hugh Jackman returning as the Wolverine.
Yeah, but on top of that, we have the UK box office top 10 and some movie news. I'm not going to say join us in the live chat in the bottom corner because Andy's already took my fire away from me on that. But kick things off with some movie news. I'm going to start this week.
Okay.
Deadline are reporting that James McAvoy is set to star in Paul McGuigan's upcoming Frankenstein movie. McAvoy will play Victor von Frankenstein opposite Daniel Radcliffe, who will play Igor. The script is being penned by Max Landers, who worked on Chronicle, and is set for an October 17th, 2014 release date.
I'm not a massive fan of the Frankenstein movie, so this is like, I don't know. I mean, it's Paul McGuigan I like. If it's the right name, I think, because I think, didn't he direct Push, it was?
Yeah, I think Push, yeah.
The movie with Chris... forget names now. Chris Evans, which is a small film a lot of people haven't heard of. If you've not heard of it, look into it, because it's really worth checking out. Paul McGuigan, he directed that, and it's a really good film. So I might see it purely because of the fact that he is a director who is worth seeing.
Yeah. He was also the director on Sherlock.
Was he?
Yeah, on the 2010 2 episodes in that, A Study in Pink and The Great Game, and 2 episodes in 2012, A Scandal in Belgrave and The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Okay, now I'm kind of interested, although Hound of the Baskervilles was, I think, the weakest of the Sherlocks that we've had so far.
Yeah, he also directed Lucky Number 11 as well, so...
well, there's every now and again someone's going to fall.
Yeah, and it's been done by Max Landers, who worked on the script for Chronicle.
You're not helping the case here, really.
I really liked Chronicle anyway, so... next piece of news, Sci-Fi has ordered a TV series based on the film Legion called Dominion. The series will follow Paul Bettany's character from the film and will be set 25 years in the future, where mankind are at war with angels. Scott Stewart, who directed the film, will helm the pilot.
If anyone is out there sort of knows TV land, this kind of has already happened in another show called Supernatural, so I really don't see the point of this happening. It's just that as being the basis of a series. In series Supernatural, there is a whole thing, a battle of people and angels on Earth and all, and demons and everything, and it's a lot cooler than it sounds from me describing it. But don't take my word for it, just go and check it out. But I mean, that's... I'm not a big fan of the film Legion. It's not that bad. I preferred Priest, which is the same sort of thing with Paul Bettany and the same director that they made. That was a lot better film, and I think very underrated because it suffered from the backlash against 3D, because it was released in 3D and people didn't go and see it because of that.
Yeah, there's been plans for a little while anyway to make Legion into a TV series. I think they were planned right after the film finished with the film. So this has been going on
taken a while.
A couple of years. I think the film came out in like 2010, didn't it?
Something
in
like
that region, yeah. So it's been a couple of years. Sorry if you heard a beep there from a car. Lovely. People like to really interrupt me, but yeah, it's been in the pipeline for quite a while now. So, next piece of news. This is up my alley, but not up yours. Studio Ghibli head honcho Hayao Miyazaki has been criticised by the Japanese nationalists over his latest film, The Wind Rises. People who support Prime Minister Shinzo Abe have accused the animation master of being unpatriotic in his new movie, which tells the tale of World War II fighter Jiro Hiroshi. Miyazaki said, "At a time when social systems and ways of living are going through huge changes, it's impossible for anime alone to remain the same as before and produce fantasies. It is time for us to move into a new direction. It's unknown when the film will be released in the UK and US."
But I'm sure when it is, you'll hear about it several times from Stuart, who will be talking about it all the time.
Yeah, considering next week I actually work out the lineup for the shows itself, and I'm reviewing from Up on Poppy Hill next week. I wonder where that review will be happening. Could it be first? Maybe. But it's Hayao Miyazaki. He's not a director who's really outspoken, but when he is an outspoken director, he makes sure that he gets his point across. And I think this is the first time that Studio Ghibli has been attacked like this, with one of their directors has been attacked like this, because he wants to write a story about a pilot in World War II, with it is actually based on a pilot in World War II. But the Prime Minister has turned around and gone, "Oh no, it's given us bad light."
Sorry.
Yeah, really. And my final piece of news, according to Deadline, a spin-off of Rocky called Creed has been given the go-ahead, with Michael B. Jordan, who was in Chronicle, tapped to star. The actor will play the grandson of Rocky's rival Apollo Creed, while Sylvester Stallone will return as Rocky himself.
I'm not a fan of the Rocky series. I was actually talking with someone about this last week, and I found a fellow person who is not a big fan of the Rocky series, who thinks that they're largely overrated. The first one's okay, but the rest of the series, honestly, is suffers from the whole thing of let's just make money, but really badly from the 80s. It's just, really, no.
Yeah, I know somebody who's actually is a pretty big fan of the Rocky series, and when I told him this news story, he just went, "No, we don't want it."
So even someone who loves the Rocky films, because I like Rambo, but I don't like Rocky.
Yeah, he's a huge fan of the Rocky series, but even he said no, pass.
Yeah. A couple of pieces of news I've got, talking of other things coming back from the past and being brought back. After the failed attempt to bring Beverly Hills Cop to the small screen with Eddie Murphy as Detroit detective Axel Foley and a cameo appearance, Paramount Pictures decided to attempt to go ahead with a further Beverly Hills Cop movie. Writers Josh Applebaum and Andrei Nimick have been hired to write the script, and Eddie Murphy is said to already be attached to star.
Whoopee. That's all I have to say with that. Whoopee.
I don't have a problem with the three Beverly Hills Cops films. It does the whole thing of the first two are kind of serious and okay, and the third one is just stupid, ridiculous, but cheesy fun. If you're into that and you kind of enjoy that, and I thought it was okay. There was some bits of it that I enjoyed. It's a bit awful in parts, but it's nothing like what Eddie Murphy does now. So I can't imagine what this fourth one will be like, but it can't be good.
That's the problem. You might be fine with the first three Beverly Hills Cops movie, but look what Eddie Murphy has done in between Beverly Hills Cop 3 and the next one, which is Beverly Hills Cop 4. He hasn't actually set his career alight, has he?
They need to get someone like a real good director, but someone who can direct, good action director. I don't mean Michael Bay, because I don't want another Bad Boys rip-off thing, but I would love to see someone like Ridley Scott tackle this. I'd love to see Ridley Scott make Beverly Hills Cop 4. I honestly would. And I think that if there's any problems there with it, then if it gets made and someone like that is in charge of it and properly takes care of it, then it'll come out with something that'll be pretty good, because it'll be gritty. He would do it gritty. He would do it justice.
So you want it to actually go back to its gritty roots rather than have the hints of humour as the third one?
No, have little bits of humour, like, because the first one and the second one had humour, but it wasn't more. It's like Die Hard. You had the first two Die Hards were serious, gritty, little bits of humour, one-liners here and there, and then Die Hard 3, which I really like. Die Hard 3, I think it really works. Because they bring in Samuel Jackson, who is the comedy sidekick, and it just works really well. the same thing happened with Beverly Hills Cop, but there was no comedy sidekick more, and it was just Eddie Murphy. So they changed the character from being a serious character who made wisecracks to being just a spoof, stupid character. And, you know, you bring in the sidekick is the spoof, stupid character. Do that. But then in the next one, keep Axel Foley gritty, dark, like it was in the first two, serious, but every now and again he cracks a joke and it's funny. Levity, you know, not just the whole way through. Final piece of news: movie composer John Williams has been confirmed to be returning to score the music to Star Wars Episode 7 by Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy this past week at the Star Wars Celebration Europe in Germany. A video was played at the event with a speech from Williams in which he said, "Having worked on all 6 of the films, I'm just happy to be continuing to be a part of the whole fun of doing it. I haven't seen the script, so the story is still unknown to me. But I can't imagine that there will not be some references to the existing stories that we know that would necessitate and make appropriate the use of some of the earlier themes."
Yeah, lots of Star Wars stuff happening as of late because of the Star Wars Celebration Europe that's just occurred. Following the nerd with their lucky gits, constantly posting pictures and stuff on Facebook and making everybody jealous. Nice of them to do that. And obviously the J.J. Abrams story that came out last week while we were on air. As well, so lots of stuff is happening. It was understandable that he was going to return to do the score. It's not going to be a Star Wars movie without his score in it anyway.
No,
although have that feel.
Although it won't have the opening thing anymore. The opening because that's 20th Century Fox, and it's not 20th Century Fox anymore. It's going to have the Disney logo and the ding 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 ding. That's
going to be strange.
Yeah, it's just I think that they need to not have that on there. I think they need to have something that they can do to make, because the Disney music isn't this grand thing that the Star Wars one is always had from the 20th Century Fox, and they need to do something for that.
Yeah, I mean, to make up for it, what they should do is when you have the Disney castle come into the foreground, you should have Mickey coming out and then Yoda run across the screen with a lightsaber and chop off his head.
That's a bit far, I think.
No, it isn't. And then Yoda actually takes over Mickey Mouse's podium, and so he's the head of Disney now.
Can you imagine though, everyone like who's a big Star Wars fan who was also a Disney fan will like have that happen? They'll go, "You've taken my 2 biggest things and battled them against each other. How can you do that? You're just destroying my childhood."
Screw them. Let's get on to the UK box office top 10. At number 10, This Is the End.
You realise you're going to get letters now, don't you?
I never get letters. I didn't give out my address or anything like that.
Find Twitter. Find Stuart on Twitter at Cryptic Tadpole. Please do it during the show so his phone goes nuts and you hear the minions going off on his phone. This is the End, which it's a fun film. It's funnier than you expect it to be, but by the time it gets to the end, it gets more ridiculous and starts becoming a spoof of itself. And I think have they agreed they're going to do another one? I think there has been something about them saying that because it's done so well. But I mean, it's and if you're like Stuart, who doesn't like Danny McBride, and you don't like him, you'll find him annoying in it. But I didn't have a problem with him.
Yeah, my phone's just gone off there, so I'm glad that it didn't speak because my microphone only actually picks it up when I speak. Number 9, and you went for The Frozen Ground,
which is an okay film, only that it just really doesn't need a cinematic release. It's shot. I mean, part of the problem is that it's shot too close. The handheld work. There's literally scenes where people are sitting in an office talking and it should be still cameras. It's not. Instead, it's right up on someone's face. When they move, just sitting back and forwards in their desk. See, you can't see it, but you can. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I'm just leaning backwards and forwards in my chair. I'm leaning on my desk. People doing that, and the camera is trying to focus on their faces. And because of that, it's all over the place and you start feeling dizzy. It's average kind of TV movie fare, but it's okay. It's quite enjoyable. It's just you can't watch it on a big screen because you just get dizzy and it's horribly shot. But I mean, it's Nicolas Cage doing a decent Nicolas Cage performance. Vanessa Hudgens is the biggest surprise in it, and John Cusack's doing a good sort of serial killer thriller psycho. That I mean, we'll talk about that later in the DVD section because of another film he's in.
Yeah, you can. It's proven the fact that it should have went straight to DVD with it only going in at number 9 and taking only 89,000. So,
well, I'm curious now to see what's going to happen because it hasn't opened in the States yet. It opens in the States in it's either a week or 2 weeks' time, and I'm not sure if it gets the full release or if it's a small release and a video on demand release because that seems to happen a lot with small films over there now. So I guess we'll find out how it does if it makes it into the US box office top 10. Depending on what else comes out, then I have my doubts it will make it in a top 10, to be honest.
Yeah, number 8, Man of Steel.
What more can we say about this? Stuart didn't like it as much as I did. I thought it was really good. I think it's the best Superman version, the best version of Superman we've had on the screen. I admit it has problems, but I think there's a lot more in it that people were kind of dismissing because they wanted certain things and it didn't have. It wasn't the Superman film they expected, but I think it's a better Superman film because of that.
It's a bit messy at times. At number 7, The Internship.
Which I really loved. I honestly did. I laughed a lot more. It doesn't have gross out humour, which is a rare thing now, and it is genuinely funny, and it's full of geek references. There are things in there that it kind of takes the mickey out of geeks, but if you are a geek, you get that, and you get a lot of the jokes, and you laugh, and it's funny. And the audience that I saw it with in a sold-out preview, a full preview screening, everyone was laughing, and there was some serious gut-buster laughs throughout the film. It more than carried its hour and 40 minutes runtime, something like that. But it's, I mean, not to everyone's taste because it is a Vince Vaughn comedy. But I mean, for me, Vince Vaughn has actually redeemed himself a little with this.
Yeah, number 6, World War Z.
Which is a lot more tense the second time round, I found. So I've seen it now twice, and a friend pointed it out to me the second time. He goes, "That's a really tense film." I was like, "Yeah, it is actually." I didn't realise how much it was the first time. Brad Pitt's perfectly fine in it. It's a bit all over the place with some of the plotting, and then the last sort of half hour, 45 minutes of the film completely changes tone, becomes something different because of the reshoots. But I found that really worked, and I liked how it became sort of smaller scale because of that. And it's not really a zombie movie; it's a horror, it's a disaster movie with zombies in it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Number 5 is Now You See Me,
which I really liked, except for the last sort of 10-15 minutes of it, when it goes and completely throws everything away and has a twist ending, which isn't really a twist, and you're kind of going... I honestly sat there and I wanted to shout out, "You're not going to do this, are you?" Because I kind of predicted what was going to happen, and it happened exactly what I thought, and I was like, "Don't do that, please." I was kind of almost on my knees begging with it, "Don't do this," and it did it, and it kind of threw it all away. Up to that, it's kind of good. It is on-screen magic, as you see, magic done. You can't really see it because it's Hollywood magic, but there are some nice touches in there.
It's remained in the top 10 longer than I thought it would have, actually. So it's done well for itself.
It has. I have to admit, yeah, I agree with that. It's been in there. I thought it would have been a lot lighter. I didn't think it'd be in the top 5 still. It's been out, although it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks. So it's 7 million in that time. It's done well for itself. At number 4, Pacific Rim,
which I really loved. I realised actually as well, because Oblivion is out in a couple of weeks, and looking back at things like Oblivion, the two of them have very similar big budget end of the world thing, going on there, and they have that a lot, especially as well, references between things like Independence Day and monster movies, sort of thing like that. There's links between the two of them, which I hadn't thought of originally when I saw Pacific Rim the first time. I've seen it a few times now. I've absolutely enjoyed it every time. Seen it in normal 2D and IMAX 3D. 3D's unnecessary, but it's really, see it in the biggest screen, loudest screen you can. It is so much fun, and it's so much better than fun because it's actually enjoyable for the bits where it's not just monsters fighting robots, and it has a sense of scale.
Yeah, it's in my top 10 films of the year, surprisingly, because it is such a fun film.
I'm guessing it will probably be in mine as well. Maybe yours will be higher than mine, but I think because there's other films that I know will be in there. But possibly, yeah. I'm not sure yet. I've still got to...
I think when we make our top 10 overall, it deserves at least getting into the bottom end of the chart just because of the fact that it is such a fun film, and it really harks back to the old style blockbusters when we used to go to the cinemas in the late 80s, 90s to go and see one or two summer blockbusters, and you used to have that thrill of it and the enjoyment of it. That's what that movie reminded me of, so it deserves a mention because of that.
It is, and it has decent characters and characterization, which is above the norm now as well.
Yeah, number 3 is Despicable Me 2.
Bottom.
You're going to do that every single week that this is in the top 10, aren't you?
Can you blame me, really? I mean, it's as far as I'm concerned, apart from maybe Wreck-It Ralph earlier this year, this is the best animated film that's been released.
Agreed.
I can't think of any other animated films this year because, the other one is really Monsters University, which we'll get to in a moment. And this, for me, takes the cake in that it's brilliant, it's fun. They've really worked out what works best from the first one, and they've made the second one even better because of it. It's not brilliant, but honestly, you'll sit there and you'll be laughing from minute 1 through to minute 90, whatever it is that finishes, and stay through the credits because it's just funny bits at the end as well.
Yep.
And worth seeing in 3D.
That's stretching me just a tiny bit, even though I did actually see this in 3D. But at number 2 is The New Entry for the World's End,
which is enjoyable and good. It's an equal, I would say, to Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, because these are the Cornetto trilogy from Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And it's fun and enjoyable. It's kind of, you can tell they're trying to be like the other films. It doesn't have the drive of the other films that it does, but I sat through it. I laughed at it a lot. I found a lot of the jokes in there were brilliant. I didn't like the ending. I hate the ending. Kind of feels tacked on and unnecessary. Cut the last 10 minutes off, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. It is the weakest out of the trilogy. I was speaking to.
I'm not saying it's weak. I think it's as equal as the others. I don't have a thing. I think it's less than that. I've only seen it once though, saying that, and I've seen Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, Lord knows how many times. So I think that on that grounds, it's at least as good because I don't think it's worse than them. And I will see it more in the future, and I'm guessing I will enjoy it and love it as much as them because it'll be equal then more that I've seen them all.
I think, will you let me finish, it is the weakest out of the 3, personally. When I saw Shaun of the Dead first, I really enjoyed it. When I saw Hot Fuzz first time, I really enjoyed it. I had more problems in seeing this for the first time than I did with the other 2. Somebody who I was speaking to last night, who's a huge fan of the first 2 films in the Cornetto trilogy, he hated this. He didn't find it funny at all. He didn't laugh that much in it at all. He can quote easily lines constantly from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. In this, I doubt he'll actually be able to remember very many of them because there isn't any very memorable lines and scenes in this than there is in the other 2 films. Yeah, you might pick up on a couple when you watch it a few times, but I don't think it'll live in the memory as the other ones. And the proof is the fact that the Hot Fuzz took something like 78 million in its opening weekend. This has only taken 2 million. So it's a huge drop off from what Hot Fuzz took. So I think it is the weakest out of the entirety of the trilogy.
But how many times has your friend seen Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead?
Numerous amount of times.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously because this film has only just been out a week anyway. But if somebody who's an absolute insane fan of the first 2 and he finds this one like extremely bad, then there is something wrong with it. Number 1 is Monsters University.
Which I'm surprised the number of people who are singing praise about this, because I thought it was honestly, and I know I'm not the only one, because also our friend Bounty Ball, Nathan on Twitter, you find him at Bounty Ball, who does We Are Holocaust. He came back from it and had pretty much a similar reaction to me in that it's the weakest Pixar film I think I've seen in a while. I think it's weaker than Brave. I think it's a lazy retread of stuff, and it's a prequel, so it's trying to make something that really should. It's like a 90-minute collage. I want to say collage. 90 minutes. What do they call it? When you look back at something and you have a montage. That's it. It's like a 90-minute montage of something that should only be about 10 minutes in a film, and it's stretched out to 90 minutes. And there's none of the really exciting concept and imagination of the first of Monsters Inc. and the chases of it and the fun of it. It doesn't have that pace or any of that energy, which is just, it's unfortunately just sat there for 90 minutes bored. I didn't laugh once. I think maybe giggled once or something, and that was it.
Yeah, it's extremely weak. It's Pixar being really, really lazy and hanging on their laurels, thinking that they're completely indestructible, which, the way it's done at the box office, they are, because this is the 15th film in a row to go to number 1 at the US box office, which is an insane record to have.
I'm dreading Planes. I really am dreading Planes, because I'm not the biggest fan of the Cars films, and I like the second one better than the first one, which everyone hated the second one. And then they've got to make Planes, which nobody wants to see. And I mean, it's just going to be, if it's as bad as it will be, a third film in a row that Pixar has done where they have dropped the ball.
But remember, Pixar's not involved with planes. It's just Disney. So
Is it Pixar?
No, it's not Pixar. It's just Disney. Who's,
well, maybe there's a
planes.
promise for it then.
No, I doubt it. It still looks rubbish. The adverts on TV make it look really bad. And the adverts on TV are just saying that it's out in 3D. There isn't even a little tiny bit of writing underneath the advert saying that also in 2D. It's just saying 3D.
Oh, well, maybe it'll only get a 3D release.
Yep. Right, it's time to go to an ad break, and after that we'll have our one and only review of the night.
From page to screen.
So they have 9 times out of 10 they have to send it back to you unopened or just throw it in the garbage can.
Things don't always look exactly as we envision our life to look. But sometimes it works out and turns out even better.
Gregor Fisher, his bacon number is 2 because he was appeared with January Jones in Love Actually, and January Jones and Kevin Bacon appeared in X-Men First Class together.
I've got to say, the very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas now, that just makes me want to rush out.
It's about the acting and about the writing. That's really what theatre is. For me.
Probably had more names than Prince or whatever. Never mind, there's a joke for the oldies. Everybody's like, who's Prince? Who's he? I'd just like to see Mr. Freeze hiring his bad guys going, right, okay, so you're a psycho, right, can you ice skate? Head over to iTunes, Spreaker and Stitcher and put in the search box From Page to Screen.
Hi, this is Ben Lloyd Holmes from Monster Movie The Expedition. Come find us on Twitter and Facebook at Expedition Movie. You're listening to Movie Mondays.
And you can find the link there. That's actually Ben from Expedition the Movie, which they're busy having their fundraising. It's into their last 12 hours if you're listening to us live. They're trying to get together £20,000 to create the film Expedition the Movie, which they want out next year, a monster movie of sorts. You can find all the details and stuff on the Monday Movie Show's Twitter account. I've been posting up lots of links on my Twitter account as well at Cryptic Tadpole, and it's an interesting concept what they're doing, and it's nice of one of the actors to record a little vignette for us there. So thank you to Ben. Andy, you better get on the review of The Wolverine.
Yeah, directed by James Mangold. It's the movie of the character Wolverine from the X-Men series. If you don't know who it is, then where have you been, literally, for the last 10 years to not know him at all? It is the 6th time that Jackman has played the character, I believe. Am I thinking that wrong? 5 times? 6 times? We played it
6, I think.
Again. 6, or is it 6?
Yeah, 6.
With Days of Future Past?
It was 6 because there was a movie question which I had to answer. How many times has Hugh Jackman played Wolverine to win some cinema tickets? And I won the cinema tickets, so that was right.
It is. Well, I was thinking, but not counting First Class, but that's a spoiler anyway. So, in this movie, this is set after the events of X-Men The Last Stand, which is the 3rd X-Men film, but not the last X-Men film that was made. Through the events of that, Logan has become kind of an outcast. He doesn't want to be around people because everyone around him either dies or is hurt because of being around him. And because of that now, he is living in the Alaskan wilderness. He's staying away from people and civilizations. He's living in just the woods. He actually, at the start of the film, staying in a cave where he's asleep and having a dream sort of flashback to an event that happened in World War II, where he is captured in Japan and held in a POW camp literally on the day that the bomb is dropped on Nagasaki. When he's there, one of the soldiers who is a kind of holding him prisoner, as everyone is seeing the bomb is about to come, his name is Yashida. Everyone is sort of released from the camp to run, but there's nowhere to escape to except for the fact that Logan manages to save Yashida's life. In return, Yoshida then gives him a sword and basically tells him that you know this is important. Here, give this to you. Logan declines this and says to him, "Keep it for me. I'll come and collect it someday," because he realizes that Logan is basically immortal and will heal after seeing the effects of a nuclear bomb, basically, in the fire burning Logan in quite a graphic scene for the opening of the film. Cut to present day, Logan is then approached by a woman called Yukio, who comes to ask Logan to come and see Yoshida, who is now close to death in Japan and wants Logan to come and see him. He ends up going there against his will, sort of ends up turning there. Yoshida offers him a chance to take away his powers because of the fact that he sees that time has not been kind to him and he's suffering and he longs for death, which is a question of whether or not he does. You have this all going on when the Yakuza attack And Yoshida wants Logan there also to help protect his granddaughter, who is going to take over his company when he dies. As a result of this, Logan has to protect his granddaughter as well as go on the search with Yukio to try and find out what's going on with the Yakuza and who put out the hit. Here's a clip.
Get out. Not you.
I am the Minister of Justice. Do you have any idea what I could do to you?
Really? You gonna try and talk tough standing there in your red underwear? You have 10 words. 10 words. To explain to me why you would want your fiancée killed by the Yakuza.
You don't have the faintest idea what's going on.
How many words was that?
9.
9. You have 1 word left. Really?
Mariko would have never gone through with the wedding. She never took to me.
Oh, really? Class act like you.
Wait! No! You wanted the truth if I told you the truth!
I didn't like it.
How did you know there's a pool down there?
I didn't.
So, here's the thing with the Wolverine. It's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is the film that we had, the first spin-off one for the character of Wolverine, in that it gets the character of Logan a lot better. It's a lot more character-driven stuff there, because all the way through this, there are scenes where he's having flashbacks and he's having dreams of Jean Grey, the character played by Famke Janssen, who makes an appearance in this several times, kind of inviting him to join her in death. It's a weird kind of thing like that, but it's him showing the fact that he's suffering because of the events of X-Men The Last Stand, in which he had to do something there, which I don't want to say because it would be considered a spoiler. X-Men The Last Stand by itself as well is an awful, awful contribution to the X-Men franchise. Anyone who knows the series will be completely disgusted with it, as I was. But I'm not going to get into that now because I will be on that literally for the next hour. The problem with this is it's okay for Logan and the character of Wolverine. It's not the best of his, but it's a lot better than we've seen in any other ones before. But the big problem is everyone else in the film, all the other characters, and I mean all the other characters. You have the potential boyfriend of the granddaughter, you have the granddaughter, you have the grandfather, you have the father, you have the potential husband, arranged husband-to-be, who you heard in that clip there. You have as well the girl bodyguard who sees the future, which is her mutant gift, but she can't see future precisely. She can see the point of someone's death. And you have one of the worst villains in the X-Men series ever, the Viper, played by Svetlana I don't even know how to pronounce it, Kudchenkova. It's honestly, she is terrible in this, but not largely just because of her. It's awfully written. There are parts basically when something should be happening, you wonder what's going on, and it cuts to a character in the background who's doing something. Literally, it's a character goes along, walks someone. It's kind of like something out of Star Wars, or not the old Star Wars, the new Star Wars, where someone walks along and says something which is supposed to matter, but you're kind of like, I don't care about this. Get on with it. And it's especially as it goes on, that gets worse and worse and worse until you get to a sequence at the end when it just falls into a generic action film without any real excitement, without any real fun. It's competently directed. James Mangold is a good director. I mean, he's done a good job before in other films. He's done the remake of 3:10 to Yuma, which is a fantastic film, and I love that film. But this is just average at best. It's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but not by much. It should be a lot better. It really, especially in the way we're getting comic book films made and the care and attention that's going into them, it really deserves to be more than it is. It's just a big disappointment.
Piercing. I've heard that the piercing is very, to be honest, lackadaisical.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of great action sequences in there. There's a decent action sequence on a bullet train, and I mean I don't mean on as in a bullet train. I mean on a bullet train. If you've not seen the trailers or anything, you won't know. But it's basically on top of a 300-mile-per-hour bullet train. There's this thing as well, which I mean I have said about it in my written review, which you can find on mondaymovieshow.co.uk. But I didn't mention in the review there is that there's a thing that happens to Logan, which is okay. I'm going to mention it. at one point he loses his healing power, his mutant ability to heal. Yeah, and it's literally a case of after that, soon after that, when he realises that's happened, he gets shot. And I'm not just talking once. He gets shot like 7 or 8 times point blank. I get that his bones are like made of, they're covered in adamantium, so a lot of the time the bullets are just going to deflect off that. But seriously, he gets shot 7 or 8 times point blank, kind of shakes it off and carries on. And I was like, seriously? You've been shot point blank with a gun. How are you not just like down on the floor whimpering in pain because of the fact that you've got a hole there that's bleeding blood? His claws come out, the bone claws, which are now adamantium claws, they come out and they go back in, and yet his knuckles aren't bleeding because it should be because he's not healing. So, what? And like a 300-mile-an-hour bullet train pulls into a station with a big massive hole in the side, and nobody's panicked, screaming or anything like that. They get off the train, walk away, and there's no sign of anyone else seeing this big hole the size of a person on the side of a train. And someone's not going to go, oh, we better stop. We better make a big thing and stop that, because if we run that, it might crash or something. I mean, really? It's just horribly.
All I was going to ask is, how do you think this will do at the box office? Because in America, it's taken $55 million in its opening weekend. So it's gone straight in at number 1, which it didn't, I think it was like $30 million less than X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah. So do you think the fact that it doesn't have the name X-Men in the title, it might harm it more?
No, I don't think that's the problem with it. I think it's the fact that people are getting wise to the fact that 20th Century Fox have basically decided to screw over the X-Men fans. This will make back its money. I don't think it'll be a loss at the box office, and I mean largely because of the fact of the overall the whole world, and it's still yet to open in China, and films like this are doing massive business in China. But it's the thing of you've got the whole international box office is doing better than the US box office apparently, and it's not going to lose money. But the thing is as well, I think people are coming out of the film with a higher sense of it being better than they think it was, than it really was for them, because of the fact that there is a teaser at the end in the middle of the trailers for X-Men Days of Future Past and how it links into the character of Wolverine in this film. And I won't say anything more than that about it, but that is literally because the whole way through the film, it's like the audience and the sold out cinema. And I'm not kidding. On a Thursday afternoon, I saw this, and it was packed. Which I literally knew then and then. Even if this is terrible, it will do a big numbers to make it worth the while for making it. But literally, all the way through the film, you could just feel people were watching it and were enjoying it, and it's okay. But then it was like, yeah, okay, let's go, walk out. Some of them started to walk out. I knew there was something at the end, so I sat and waited. A lot of people got halfway out and then stopped standing in the aisle as they were heading out, all looking, watching the bit at the end. And when that teaser happened at the end, everyone was like, oh, wow, that was amazing, that was great. And it left them with this, I think, a false sense of this was an amazing film. It's not. It's an average film. It just ends with a little note at the end that's kind of like an injection booster. It's like a booster jab as you're walking out at the end going, that's a great film. It's not. It's an average film.
So you might as well say that the teaser is better than the film itself.
It is. It is. And that's a big problem. It's like literally you could, and the thing is, if you Google the teaser, if you Google, Wolverine end credits, it's on there. It's been put up by loads of people. I've seen it on there, and it's like, honestly, if you're not sure about it, then watch that and go, okay, I'm going to go see it anyway. Or if you're not going to go and see it, don't go and see it. But watch that and you'll be like, oh wow, I'm looking forward to that next year, because it's only a year now until X-Men Days of Future Past.
You're paying for the teaser by the sounds of things. I'm going to see it tomorrow anyway.
It's not a bad film because it's just full of so many inconsistencies and problems. And the further along you get into the film, the more and more there are, and just bad coincidences. And there's also something as well, and something that really annoyed me. There is something in the trailer which looks like quite a big thing from an action set piece, and it's not in the film. And it's a big thing, and I'm literally like,
I hate when they do that.
I was literally, where's that? It's missing. It's not there. And I guarantee it's been left out so they can go, oh, DVD and Blu-ray extended edition.
We have this fantastic scene that you saw in the trailer, which is going to be on the Blu-ray and DVD, which you've got to buy it to see it.
Yeah.
Earholes.
And just,
I hate when they do that.
Just, why don't you just ram it down my throat so I can then be sick, literally, instead of just wanting to be sick.
Yep. Oh well then. Well, that's it for the cinema section of this week's show. We'll be back in a moment on Spreaker Live with the Blu-ray and DVD section of the show, so we'll see you then.